Hello, I'm here in my studio and I'm just going to show you working on some dry points that I've done with by hand monoprint. So we'll get started on that. If you'd like to see any more videos, please subscribe and like the video. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at RuthAnderPrints there, and also pop along to my website where you can join my mailing list. You get a nice monthly email of new work and workshop dates and things like that. And you can also see what work is available to buy as well on the website. So that's ruthander.co.uk. So these are the pieces I'm going to be working on today. These are dry point etchings. I actually made an etching plate from a card, dry point card, which is kind of just like shiny card really, that you can scratch the shiny bit away. So that's where these lines have come from. As I put the plate through the press with the paper on, I'd also added some monoprint onto the plain bit of the plate, the bit where there wasn't any scratching, any scratch marks or drawing. So this is monoprint here. So I've just rolled ink on and I've wiped it off with my hand or a rag. So this is actually a view of Uffington Castle. Well, you might know it better as the White Horse. There's a Neolithic white horse scratched into the chalk downland there, and this is quite close up, so it kind of doesn't look like a horse at all. But when you're standing right next to it, it just kind of looks like just white marks in the earth really. But it's a beautiful view out across I suppose Oxfordshire countryside. So the kind of view I love. So these have had some collage in already. So I've added collage, but I'm not really happy, particularly with these two here. I'm not particularly happy with them. They need something more. The sky needs some darkness, I think, probably in it. Maybe some lightness as well. I don't like this area down here so much, so I'm going to be playing around with this with monoprint now. So what I've actually done here is I wanted to cover this area up, so I've actually put a sort of dark purple on, and exactly the same technique as I've just showed you with drawing onto the back of the paper to create these lines. But I actually think it's a little bit dark now as well. So what I'm going to do, I've rolled out some of this kind of almost neon green, you might call it, or a very greeny yellow. And I was actually going to put some lines on, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is just use the roller with the ink on to just roll over here. Now, this is still wet, so I think it could do some quite interesting things. I'm just going to cover up where I've rolled the ink out. I don't get it on the back too much. I'm just going to see what happens when I roll onto here. Okay. Well, not loads, but definitely lightening it up. So I think what I'm going to do now is do what I originally planned, which is drawing into the back again with this neon green. So I'm going to go over where I've just rolled ink onto. Let's see how that comes out. Okay, so that's done something interesting. Because this is all wet and there's quite a lot of ink on here, where I've actually drawn into the back is actually taken ink off rather than putting it on. So we've got this kind of purple merging with the neon green kind of colour there, which I really like. So always try something just to see what happens, especially with wet ink or wet paint, because it often does unexpected things. So I've actually just been playing around here. This is the piece that I put the bright red on. And I just wanted to tone it down a little bit. So while I have that nice neon green colour out, actually you can see that my roller's now got red lines on it where I've rolled it. And in fact, I think what I'm going to do is just before I do anything else, just going to see if that will roll out onto a piece of tissue. Yes, it has a little bit. So that roller had some red lines on from where I'd rolled over some wet red ink, and also the sort of neon green. So when you roll that off onto a piece of paper, it looks rather wonderful. That's another way you can do ghost prints. But actually the reason I rolled out that ink was to just gently roll it over the wet red ink lines that I've just done, and it looks rather nice. Kind of adds a whole, takes the red down and adds a whole extra level of texture at the bottom here. So again, rolling ink onto wet ink. Always try it and see what happens.